Yeah, what's going on down the live? That's one of my other podcasts I'm doing, man, with Shad and Manny, man. So they part of the platform, kind of. We working on the kinks for that too. But yeah, I'll let you know something, bro. Just hit me up in my messenger, bro. Yeah, Manny doesn't have he doesn't have a link for a show yet. He haven't set up everything, so that's why I'm doing it on my platform right now because he doesn't have everything set up. Oh, okay. Okay. I hear you, bro. All right. Just stay locked in with me, bro. It'll pop up next season. I'll have more information then.
And just in regards to last season, I really appreciate our guys. You know, they came in the springtime and they dedicated it to what we were doing, buy-in, work ethic. They sacrificed a lot, and that's what gave there at the end. You know, we won games, we put ourselves in a good position, but ultimately we came up short. And so our guys are going to learn from this, the guys that we're able to bring back. You know, and I can't say enough good things about this particular group of coaches, of players, of support staff. I thought they were special, and I said that at the end of the year. They believe that, and I'll forever be grateful for what they were able to do. But we're one of the 31 other teams that fell short. If anything, that just rejuvenates me and makes me want to push harder and longer than what we did this past season. So I'm already looking ahead to 2026 myself. With that being said, I'm really excited about seeing this city, this fan base come to life. These last two games, I'll never forget. Just the energy, the vibe. You could feel that, and it is a serious home field advantage that we're creating here in Chicago. That's something that we got to continue to build upon as we go forward. Talked to our guys a little bit on Monday, just in terms of where we are and how we're moving ahead. We go back to square one. It's back to the bottom again, and we got to build this thing back up. You know, Ryan and I have some really difficult decisions to make over the course of this off season, but we're committed to bringing in competitive players, football players that are going to make us better time and time again. So, you know, the thing is, you can look at 2025 and you can say, hey, it's a great start. Well, the truth is, it was really hard to accomplish what we accomplished, and it wasn't good enough. And it's going to be that much harder to put ourselves in that position again next season. And so, a lot of work coming up. I know our players, when they come back, you know, that they'll be ready to go. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Virginia McCaskey and just the impact she had on us and this team this year. You know, I got hired and was shortly thereafter that she passed away, and yet this year was really dedicated to her. You know, we wore the patch as a team in honor of her and the impact she's had on this organization and this city. So I'd be remiss if I didn't bring her up and talk about how important she was for us this year. With that being said, I'll go ahead and open it up.
And circling back to Sunday really quick, the last offensive snap, you guys ran the interception. What was your review of that play through Caleb's lens, through DJ's lens?
Yeah, I have not studied the tape a whole lot. My last 2 days have been focused solely on our players. We've had about 20 hours of exit interviews. It's all about our players. I'll go back, I'll review that tape. Here's what I'll say just off the cuff about that particular play. That's my problem. That's no one else's but mine. So I got to do a better job coaching that up.
Philosophically, what do you guys like about getting the ball second?
Yeah, the overtime rules change in the postseason, and we felt like kicking it off was the way to go, so that we would know exactly what we need to do. So I'm not going to get into it a whole lot beyond that.
You said there's a lot of work to do. It's going to be more difficult. Besides Caleb, what gives you confidence that you guys are going to be able to build off this and that
there is no building off of this. We go back to square one. We're back at the bottom again, and that's really all 32 teams. If you feel otherwise, you're probably missing the big picture. You know, we're back at. We got to start from scratch. We got to start from the fundamentals. You know, a lot of guys talked about how difficult this training camp was. I didn't feel like it was anything out of my ordinary. They know what the expectation is. They know what the process is that we believe in as a coaching staff. And so I think more than anything else, they're going to know what they're getting themselves into. And yet we got to dig a little bit deeper. We got to work a little bit harder. We got to give a little bit more if we want to take this thing over the top. I mean, it's no different. You're trying to lose weight. You're trying to lose 50 pounds. Is the easiest 30. You know, the last 20. That's the hard part. And so We did a nice job this year, but it's not enough. We got to do more.
What's the focus on with Caleb going into the offseason?
We'll circle back on that. We had a good exit interview. My main message to him was he needs to get out of football for a little bit. He's done a phenomenal job in terms of staying focused all year long. He put a lot of time, a lot of effort. I thought he grew up as a professional. I thought his communication to the coaching staff grew. I thought his communication to his teammates grew. But we will certainly have a number of points of emphasis that he can dive into when he comes back this springtime. But it's important for really all of us, coaches, players, support. We get away for a little bit. We hit the reset button. I think everyone needs that here at this point. The things that we highlighted for Caleb to start the season, I did think they improved as the season went along. We revamped the footwork a little bit last spring, and I think the comfort level grew from that. He certainly got more comfortable with the concepts that we were running over the course of the season. That's something that we can build upon, and yet there's still a lot more that we can push through in that regard. And so I'm really encouraged about the steps he took this year. I'm Caleb Williams' #1 believer. I have a lot of faith in him, what he's capable of doing, and the player that he's still striving to become.
Did DJ Moore leave the building either discouraged or injured? Because it's extremely rare.
That's a good question about DJ Moore. Good question, bro.
You would have
Whoever that
to
is.
talk to him about his mindset. We had a really good exit interview, and he's a player that I felt really helped us get to the point to where we were this year. We had an opportunity there, a couple games away from the Super Bowl. So I thought he was a huge contributor to getting us there.
And acknowledging that you're resetting, you're starting over, what are some of the things that you built and the whole team built that are sustainable that you can see that guys can remember and still believe in, that they're going to help as you get back in April?
Well, our identity that we outlined, that we wanted to show on tape, I thought that came through, and we have it up in the team room. The words on a wall are one thing, but bringing it to life is another thing. And I thought those guys did that. The #1 thing was physicality. I thought we were a physical unit on tape. That always starts in the trenches with your big guys, but I really think your little guys on the perimeter, they really helped define that. I thought we had receivers that were selfless. They were willing to block for their buddies. I thought we had DBs that were willing to tackle. I thought that showed up these last 2 games in particular. Really proud of that. So physicality was the #1 thing that we hang our hat on. #2 is being sound, playing sound football, being fundamentally sound, and being schematically sound. And I thought that showed up week in and week out. We still can get better in some areas. Like when I think about being fundamentally sound, we got to do a better job catching the football next year. And I can tell you right now, that'll be a point of emphasis for us when they come back in the springtime. But the last one was being a poised unit. And this is the one I'm most proud about. Just that ended up being our identity there for most of the season, and showed up in the playoffs as well. Just we handled pressure better than most. And I think that's a credit to Ryan and the type of guys that he brought in. They're wired the right way. They thrive in those circumstances, and that showed up for us in a big way. Our coaching staff tried to apply pressure on them early on in the springtime and throughout training camp. And I'm not saying they grew numb to it, but it's almost like they embraced it and that they were at their best in those moments. And so those are the 3 things that we wanted to be about. And I think we brought that to light. We'll reassess as a coaching staff, where we need to go from here, but we got plenty of time to do that.
There's a real possibility you're going to have to replace coaches this offseason. How big of a challenge, 1, do you foresee that being? And 2, is there a sense of pride that people are looking at a unit that you put together and saying, we think he would be a great leader over here?
I told the players this just a week or 2 ago that it's rare in year 1 that you feel like you have a 5-star staff, and yet that's what I believe. Just over the course of the season, seeing how they conducted themselves, what they sacrificed, the time they put in. We got a great collection of coaches. It's the right mix of experience, energy, ideas. And so I think they're a big reason for the success that we were able to have and the games that we were able to win. To your point, I do think it's a lot. I see future head coaches on this staff. I see future coordinators. I see these young coaches being future position coaches. I see that all across the board. And so when you have success and you win games, normally that's what happens. I know we already have some slips coming through that other teams would like to interview some of our guys, and I'm all for it, man. I want these guys to continue to ascend. Anything I can do to help them out, I think they all know I'm more than willing to do that. But big part of what this collection of guys brought to the table was they all wanted to be here. You know, that was a big thing for me. I want guys that want to be here, and so if a guy wants to continue to build upon what we started, then I would love that as well. But this is a 5-star staff, and it's no surprise to me that we got a number of coaches that are garnering interest right now.
And how did your dynamic with Ryan play out, as you imagine, the idea of putting your vision together, building out this roster, and enjoying this success this season?
Yeah, no, I think we worked in tandem with all the decisions that went on during the course of the year. You know, I certainly rely on him a ton because he's been through this a number of times already. Whereas for me, a lot of this was a first for me. So between Ryan handling a lot of the roster construction and the decision making over the course of the week, who's up, who's down, the injuries, you know, I thought this thing worked out really, really well. And with that being said, we'll go back in the bunker here after a couple weeks, and we'll assess where we can get better as well. That's our commitment to each other. That's our commitment to this organization. Is we got to continue to clean up, you know, where we can find little edges that make us a little bit better over the course of the season. So that's what we'll do.
And you just touched on it a little bit. What's your process going to look like for evaluating the job you did in year one, and looking at what you think you did well, what you can improve on?
Yeah, I mean, we will always dive into the self-scout process as a coaching staff. We have a ton of decisions to make with the roster. I think it always starts with making sure you're accurate on the evaluations of your own and how well they fit what you're asking them to do, and whether it's someone you want to continue to move forward with or not. And I think now we're just at a much better position as a coaching staff in going into this season, just knowing who our guys are and what they'll end up being able to contribute for us in the future. And so we got to nail those. That'll be the number one objective when we come back from a little bit of a break. And I got a lot of confidence that we'll be able to get this thing right. But the self-scout process that'll occur. I mean, we got a whole off-season agenda. I know I like to think that we don't do a whole lot, but like the off-season is a whole new season of its own. So our coaching staff, they need a little break themselves, and I know we'll come back renewed and ready to go.
And from your seat, what's the significance of the offensive continuity that you seem to have in place going into 2026? Players, plays, all the things that carry forward from.
Yeah. I mean, I think back at this year, and we made a number of strides. Okay, and Ryan did a phenomenal job acquiring talent, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Up front, this offensive line, I feel like we got something to really build upon there. We've got weapons on the perimeter. Our quarterback's going to be a special player in this league. I think it starts there. Our running game picked up as the year went on, which I think is desperately needed, particularly we get these home games late in the year. It's a huge part of what we do and what we're about. And so with that being said, I think we did a number of really good things on offense, and yet we haven't even scratched the surface of what we're fully capable of yet. And so we'll talk about that. We'll address that as a coaching staff. How can we get better? I think it always starts with me as the offensive play caller. There's some areas I need to shore up. The weekly process that we had, it always starts there. But I think our guys are going to be a lot further along when they come back in the springtime. And like you mentioned, we got a core group of guys on that side of the ball that should be able to have some familiarity. So thank you guys for everything this year.
What's going on, everybody? G Walker up here, man. I'm pretty much off camera right now, man. I'm just checking out the checking out the press conference with y'all, man. Ben Johnson said some good things about
I
what
just
the
want to
team.
start off
Oh, there go Ryan right there.
by really starting with some people that I'm proud of and I'm thankful for, and that starts with leadership with George and Kevin for their support, not only just on a daily basis, but in terms of resources and priorities, making sure that our football team and our players are first, and that has a huge impact on how we did this year and how we move forward. I want to thank Ben for his dedication to this job. It didn't feel, he talks about being a first-time coach, it didn't feel that way at all. His ability to take, like you said, the words off the wall and push that to his players and see them respond was incredible. Even in some of the feedback we got, these guys were just doubling down on his message. When it got to the locker room, there was no hesitation. There was no gray area. They pushed forward because they believed in what he was saying and what he needed from them, which was incredible. I want to thank our players for putting it on the line. Their hard work and dedication, selflessness, being great teammates to each other was incredible to see their buy-in. Again, that's the reason why we do what we do, is putting our players in a position to be successful, and seeing them do their part was excellent. Especially that leadership group was awesome. Want to thank our coaches. Ben challenged them. We knew with an early bye week that development from our depth to our practice squad was going to be really important. And they did that. I saw a lot of players level up throughout the season. If that was from rookies or guys that were maybe not even on the roster when we started, they were prepared and ready to go. And really specifically DA and his ability and his defensive staff's ability to do that. There's a lot of challenges, guys up and down. And anyone that came in there was ready to go to compete and help us win football games. He did an incredible job putting that group together. Our support staff, selflessness, that's the word that comes to my mind, and passion in terms of, again, putting the players first, making sure they're in the best position, taking care of their bodies, nutrition, staying strong. We had a number of guys do some great things in terms of maintaining their strength from the first week to the very end, which is critical for us to have success on the back end of the season. Our front office, just in terms of the evaluation process, bringing in guys that can help impact our team. You look at that all pro staff, you got a draft pick, you got a guy you traded for, and someone that you acquired in free agency. And that's a lot of credit to that group. I got to give Ian and Jeff a shout out. Even through this, when you win playoff games and you push back, the calendar gets shrunk on. Those guys are up there running free agent meetings right now. And this thing moving forward, because we know the challenges that we have continue to build this roster. And then I want to thank our fans. As Coach said, I'll never forget those playoff games at the end of the season. They brought it. I had never seen Soldier Field like that before. I can't wait to get back to that point. I had family members flying in O'Hare texting me saying, I like this, in terms of the amount of pride that our fans had wearing their Bears gear, pumped up about the upcoming game. We felt that, and that's part of a job that we don't talk about a lot. It's just inspiring a fan base, inspiring the community, bringing that joy and that fun to a community because of the football team and how they're doing. Coach hit it. We didn't reach what we wanted, the goals that we wanted to hit, and that's to be a championship caliber team. That'll never change. But as we've moved a couple of days past that, I am proud of the progress that we've made. And knowing that, we can't be complacent. We got to keep pushing forward. We both come from organizations that have stacked success back-to-back years, and we know the challenge that comes with having success and then trying to get back to that the following year. I can tell you right now, we're all excited for that challenge in terms of building this team back up, making the tweaks, continuing to tighten the screws on the process and the people that we need to continue to elevate for us to get back to where we were and then exceed that and win championships around here. I do think it's important to take a step back, to get fresh eyes, to try not to wait maybe the last 3 games heavier than everything else. So we'll do that, get back together, look at the roster. As Coach said, there's some challenges and some big decisions we got to make. But I'm excited for that. Usually that means you're in a good position and you're having success. And the more success you have, the more challenges and hard decisions you got to make. And those will be critical for us to sustain it. In terms of injuries, just some updates. Obviously, some long-term injuries because of them happening late in the season. Both Ozzy and Noah, they've had surgery and they've already kicked off their process. Guys that we expect in the offseason in some capacity, whether that's in the spring or the start of training camp. So Shamar is doing well. He's rehabbing. Dio, TJ, Smitty, Zay, Frazier, Karan, all those guys are progressing to be back this offseason. So minor deal that happened in the last game, Jalen Johnson. It's just a minor thing, no surgery. He had a wrist. He'll be fine shortly. And then Jordan McFadden, credit to him and his toughness. Had an ankle injury. He's got to get that worked on. He finished the game, which was incredible. But he'll be back and ready to go at some point this offseason. So I'll open up the questions from there.
Ryan, with Ozzy, what is the timetable on his return, and how is that going to impact what you may or may not have to do to get a veteran option to fill in?
Yeah, that's a part of our job. Really unfortunate because I thought he was coming along. I was looking forward to him getting this offseason. I don't have a specific timetable. I'm sure it'll be somewhere, deep into next year for the injury. So had a good conversation with him. He knows this is part of his journey he's going to have to overcome. I got a lot of faith in him and our staff to get him back ready to go whenever that is. But specific timetables, I don't have that right now.
Ryan, with Caleb specifically, how much of what you saw this year was something that you saw him do in college? And did he do anything that went beyond your expectations or that leveled up in a way that surprised you?
Yeah, when you watch his college tape, you knew that some of those wild throws were part of his game. I would say the one thing that stands out that I was happy to see come back was just his pocket presence, his ability to escape. I think that's a rare trait that he has. You saw that come alive. But with that said, and Ben hit it, there's still a lot of work to be done. But I think he gets you excited about what he can become as long as he continues on the path that he was on before.
You mentioned the hard decisions that you have to make, and you got two safeties on Brisker and Kevin Byard. I mean, what are your initial thoughts about the potential bringing both of those guys back, or is that unrealistic?
Yeah, like I said, we're going to take a step back and kind of evaluate that, put that puzzle together. It's actually 4 safeties that are not under contract for next year. So I got a lot of faith in our process that we'll do that. I think Kevin's a special player. I have no problem saying, that's a player that we would like to have back. But again, when you add the other safeties into that mix and all the other decisions we have across the roster, cap restraints, things like that, it'll be a challenge. But that's part of what we do.
Right now, how do you reflect on Ben's work in developing players and establishing this culture and taking this thing the way he did in year one?
It was incredible. I loved watching him. I asked him the other day, I'm like, just his messaging to the team, it moves the team, and they're locked in and they listen and they take it back to the locker room and to the field, and the buy-in was incredible. I'll go back to training camp. He needed a physical day in the dog days of camp, and that was a really cool opportunity to see those guys buy into what he was saying, do something really hard. And in the moment, does it feel good? No, but they believed from his message that would help us down the road, and they went all out with it. And you saw that go through the entire season.
Ben talked about the poise under pressure in some of these late, one-score games. How did you see the staff sort of foster that throughout the year?
Yeah, I go back to, he set it up in the beginning. I mean, we watched some examples across the league of games that were a little, out of whack at halftime and even into the third quarter. And we had some guys in the room that have been in those situations and heard from them. How did you handle it? Locker room, your teammates, and poise was really kind of the common message between everybody. Or if it was on the other side, it was a lack of poise. And so it started early. The staff is on the same page with Ben. Like they don't panic. They keep coaching. And they put part of really good coaches, in my experience, is they put you in tough positions in training camp and in practice to see how you handle it, and you get repetitions at it, and it comes alive on game day, which it did.
Ryan, what would be the difference going into an offseason where you are now looking to complete a roster to be a Super Bowl contender versus starting where you've been in the past trying to build the roster? And how will that difference kind of inform decisions that you make?
Yeah, you just have more constraints.
Great question.
More
That was a great
constraints, but
question.
At the same time, I don't think the process changes. You're going to identify the guys that fit what we want in our football team, which Coach hit, and you just keep trying to acquire those players. We know what they look like, we know how they act, they know how they talk, and we'll continue to do that. I think that's part of the thing is, one, can you self-evaluate and be critical of yourself and your team to make sure that you know what you have in the building? And then can you just keep pounding away and sticking to your process? You make tweaks, of course, but stick to the process of bringing in the right types of people, and it usually works out for you. I think when you see it across the league all the time, you panic and you want to do crazy things that everybody else wants you to do. It leads to some situations that you can't get out of. So we want to stay flexible. We want to stay open-minded. We want to stay committed to building this team the right way, because I think that's the best way to sustain success. We're always going to be opportunistic. We're going to go through opportunities that pop up and talk through them. And is this best for us short term? Is it best for us long term? And then we move from there.
Yeah, Max Crosby isn't coming.
How would you evaluate the offensive line, specifically the guys you brought in this offseason to be kind of that core and have that veteran leadership?
Yeah, it was cool to see them go through the process. I think one thing with O-line, it's almost like it's choreographed. Like, you got to work together. It's a unique position where that's true. And seeing those guys figure it out early on, and then for that to come together, I think the pinnacle of that was probably the Philly game, where you could see those guys rolling. And we took their identity that day. And so it was really cool to see. And they're all very different. You know, Joe's quiet, Drew's cerebral, Jonah's the physicality that you get from that group, a little bit more vocal than the rest. You saw Darnell growing because of his experience with those interior threes. So proud of the way that they moved this year, and look forward to them getting back to work and continuing to improve.
How would you evaluate Darnell, where did you see the jump with Darnell's growth this year?
Yeah, it was steady through the season. I think that's one thing we've challenged him, is the consistency part. I think there's some ups and downs every once in a while. But when he strings it together, it's really, really good, and it's going to help us win football games. I love watching him come off the ball and move people. And when he has this confidence and belief in himself that he's the best on the field, I think he can be one of the best to do it. He just has to show up and continue to put that work in and get there. So I love his work in the off season and the weight room. I think it started there for him and then built up. But with those guys and their leadership, it definitely rubbed off on Darnell.
Ryan, how would you evaluate the defense, particularly the pass rush and the run defense?
Yeah,
That's
there's
a good question.
a lot
Great
going on
question.
there, just in terms of we had some injuries going on that you have to overcome. I think that's an area we're going to continue to press and get better. I look forward to Shamar getting back and Dio getting back. I thought Sweat did a good job this year. I think sometimes we get hung up on sacks, and sacks are important. He did get into double digits, but I think his all-around game was good. The way he defended the run, defended the perimeter, as well as applied pressure, was good. But we need him to continue to get better too. So we'll evaluate everything, but that's always O-line, D-line is always going to be a space where we want to get better.
Brian,
Did you
how
feel
does
like
it
you guys
feel?
had some synergy with draft and development this year? And if so, what was different besides being different coaches involved?
Yeah, I'll just talk about this year. I mean, drafting and developing, that's the ultimate collaboration between the front office and the coaching staff. You got to have a shared vision of what we're asking those guys to do. And then that commitment to the players got to commit to improving, but also the coaches pouring into them and getting them up to speed so that they can become pros is important. So that clear vision, clear collaboration between coach and front office, that's something that we got going on, and we'll continue to improve and get better. But yeah, you can see it come to life. You can really see it come to life this year. If it was the way Colson played to Kyle. I mean, Kyle did a great job this year too. So that's a lot of coaching. Once guys get in the building, and they did a great job.
Ryan, when you win so many games by a close margin, do you look at that as hey, we know how to win, or as our margin is really thin going forward and maybe, you can't be satisfied?
Yeah, well, I'll just start with the last thing you said. I don't think you can be satisfied. I heard the whole cardiac bear thing. I'd rather not be the cardiac bears. But if that's what that game needs, then that's what you need to do. But I do think you got to win close games. When you get down to that 2 minutes, it's important. We repped that a lot, and the guys were prepared for it. I don't think you want to be living on the edge all the time, but I think what you can take from this season is that we were able to have poise down the stretch of games and be poised to finish, and guys made plays when they needed to be made. I don't think that's the characteristic that you should ever shy away from.
What was your point of view on the touchdown at the end of regulation?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was a ridiculous throw, and that's, credit to him and his genetics and his arm and ability to create and pocket awareness. And I think this year I realized how athletic he is. Like, I knew he was a good athlete. He's a little awkward in his movements, but it's unique in the way that he can get out of things and move his body. So, he'll continue to get better and lean into the traits that he has.
When you evaluate your draft class, is there a trait that stands out that was a common theme through everybody there? Because there's an argument that this was probably the best draft class you've had, with so many guys hitting and so many guys that show potential that didn't get to play this season.
They all love football. It's passion for the game. That's one of our criteria that we have on this kind of year to make it tick. They love football. It only takes a few minutes being around Colston Loveland to know that he is so passionate about it. He wants to be great. He wants to be great for his teammates. He loves ball. They all love ball. And that's a key thing. We'll continue to lean into that.
Today's situation was kind of unique. What did he do this season? And is he, whatever he was dealing with, is he past it now where you anticipate he'll be able to contribute next year?
Yeah, so I had a good conversation with him. He's back. He'll be back, going in this offseason like everybody else. He feels like he's in a really good place to develop and move forward. Definitely a setback. He's got a mountain to climb just for missing so much ball he needed to play. So that'll be up to him to be able to get himself in the right position to compete for a roster spot.
Right. With DJ, made some of the biggest touchdowns this team's ever seen. Also, not the numbers that he put up a couple of years ago. What's kind of your overall perspective on his fit this year and then moving forward?
Yeah, I'll use his words. He didn't care about stats. All he cared about winning. It's the most winning DJ's ever had, probably since high school. That's all he cares about. In terms of roster, like I said, we got a lot of decisions to make and figuring that out. I think what stood out about DJ this year is the level of toughness rubbed off on our team. Guys, if they were dinged up, like, they almost had to go because DJ was going. He was able to fight through a lot. Got a lot of respect for him.
Thank you.
CJ, what's up, C? What's going on, CJ? What's going on, Bear Nation? It's G Walker here with CNG Podcast, and I got my dog CJ in here, man. We all in here, 111 people in here. We watching the exit, press conference between Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, man. And CJ, you in here, man? And a lot of things you said, man. Ben Johnson said a lot. He was happy. Ben Johnson is happy with the team. Just unbelievable season, happy with everybody. But, there's always going to be cuts coming and everything like that, man. So,
yeah, what's up? I'm in here. What's up?
What's going on, bro? You just had the press conference with Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, man. It's a different type of press conference, CJ. We're not this year, man. So the expectations and the questions are different. Nobody really had to ask about who we taking with the first number one off pick and who we going to bring in for the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stuff we're used to getting that these media people are used to asking. they didn't really have to ask this year, man, because the quarterback position is solidified, the head coach position is solidified, the O-line, wide receivers, the defense will get better, man. So me watching this press conference, CJ, it just lets you know how far we come in a little bit of time. You know what I mean? 5-12 last season, 11-6 this season, 2 playoff wins. You host 2 playoff games. Your quarterback looks better mechanically. Decision making, he looks better. He doesn't look perfect, but everything looks better. You look like a real outfit, a real team going forward. So this press conference to me, after a winning season, the media had to get dictated. It dictated what the questions the media asked. But at the same time, TJ, it is the off season, and Ryan Poles did say something about somebody asked him questions about the 4 safeties here, and potentially none of them are under contract. And he spoke about Byard, but that pretty much opened the door to me that, and a lot of people in the fan base, that our safety room is going to be revamped and redone. So the first person that comes to mind, just off that specific statement or question, was Jaquan Brisker. Nothing's guaranteed, man. He might have played his last game at the Chicago Bears. So what's your thoughts on anything that Ryan Poles said, especially about the safety position, man, going forward?
Yes, the safety position. I heard that they said he has 4 safeties on under contract, and that was because I pretty much came on the back end of the interview.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I heard.
Yeah. Then they pretty much asked Ben Johnson, just the things about the season, man, how he felt about the season. It's an unbelievable season. It was a winning season, and they asked him about, and he even had an accountability, CJ, like we've been wanting him to do. And he said, I can improve on a lot of things. He said, I got to go back to the drawing board on a lot of things and make sure I'm shoring up things, but we can be better. So, it's cool to have a head coach that knows that he has to be accountable because, and then Ryan Poles spoke on this. Somebody asked another great question about the cardiac bears. And Ryan Poles said, like a lot of us, was like, I don't want to be the cardiac bears, but you do want to win close games. So, see, my question to you is, what's the thin line between winning close games and, like, not growing as a team? Like, it's okay to win close games, but you don't necessarily grow from close games all the time. You can't live on that, So, what's your thoughts on that, man? Ryan Poles saying, hey, I didn't like it either, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't like the Bears winning, trying to come back and trying to win the game. They need to take leads as much as they can in these games, so they don't have to put so much pressure on their defense. When you're playing so many close games, you put so much pressure on your defense having to fight and having to stop a team from scoring. You don't want to keep doing that.
Right.
Because eventually it's going to make you vulnerable as a team.
Yeah, because, just thinking about it out loud, I know Ben Johnson probably heard that too. Like, hey, I don't like it. But what would be your thought process if I'm the head coach? I'm hearing my GM saying that, hey, I don't like to be this type of team where we always got to come from behind. Me personally, I would take that in as a competitor, and I would take it personally. I have to get my team better. I have to make sure my quarterback is better. First down, second down. The head coach himself has to be better with his play calls, third and fourth down. That pretty much erased a lot of our potential touchdowns, yards. Hopefully Ben Johnson come back next year because he did say he don't believe in 50-50 balls. But hopefully that's something that he can implement on his team because we got the personnel to do it. Roma Dunze is getting a lot of flack right now, CJ, for dropping passes and everything like that. But I don't see a lot of times where they're letting him just get up and go get it, whether that's, during the field, middle of the field, red zone opportunities. I don't see a lot of situations where Rome is getting 50-50 balls or Cole Kmet is getting a lot of 50-50 balls. And hopefully that Ben Johnson looks at the tape and he realizes that maybe I need to change my stance based off my personnel from the big wide receiver I have and the tight ends I have. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
Yeah. I mean, this season you didn't see Caleb go a lot deep a lot. So maybe Ben Johnson needs to change some of that for next season. Because he definitely has the players to do it. Caleb just didn't do it enough.
Right. because I didn't see a lot of back shoulder throws. You know, those are pretty much 50-50 balls. You're throwing it for the only one person can get it, but you put it in a position where that wide receiver can go up and get it. You know, Ben Johnson, I think he does play action very well. Then we don't see play action. You know what I mean? We run the ball sometimes, and it's not always the right time to run it. Running on 2nd and 8, I don't agree on. Running on 3rd and 6, I don't agree on. Throwing it on 3rd and 1, I don't agree on. It's a lot of things that Ben Johnson, as a rookie head coach and a play caller, has to get better in the trenches of the game, man. We got Jay saying for Ben's first year, I think we did pretty good. Maybe it's a little bit stressful, but not everything is going to work off the rip, but we have a bright future. Yeah, everything is not going to work off the rip, man. And we just want to see improvements, man. I think the team got everything we need on offense for us to just be better going forward. Like I said before, man, you know, a 3-point shot is cool. You know, a dunking is cool, but there's nothing wrong with a mid-range shot, post-up shot. You know what I'm saying? So to me, in football terms, that's pretty much a quick slant. That's a 50-50 ball. So I think that's why I want to see this offense improve, CJ, next season is from a more of a better in the red zone situation, as far as a 50-50 ball type of concepts. I want to see Caleb Williams being rolled out, running with his legs, some type of RPO zone reads on short distances because he does have the wheels. He has the athletic ability. So to Jay's point, this is the first year. Those are just a couple of things I want to see this offense and this team get better at. You know, using Caleb's athleticism on runs, giving big receivers opportunities to get up and catch it, or the tight ends, that we can improve our red zone percentages. What you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, anything different that will help the team is needed.
Right.
You know, I mean, Caleb definitely has bigger. I shouldn't say bigger targets, but he definitely has targets that can stretch the field. You know, we need to see the Bears going more vertical. And I still say the Bears need a running back to go in between the tackles.
Right. Yeah, and then one more thing, see, we going up on an hour, man. That was a cool press conference. You know, and Ryan asked Brian Poles about everybody injured, man. Dio, Zay, Edmonds, he said everybody's pretty much on track to be available in the offseason. So that's a good thing, man. We had a lot of injuries we dealt with this season, CJ. You know, Allen's not in here, but Allen pretty much was saying, man, they got to fire the people that's ahead of the staff, the training staff. So going forward in this offseason, do you think there's a chance that they're going to fire the training coordinator, training staff, man? Because, you know, that hurt us a lot, man. We overachieved, I guess, but, you know, injury is not an excuse. But a lot of the guys were out of games for a lot of injuries that were starting to stack up, man. There was a lot of hamstrings, it was groins. It was a lot, man. And I don't know if I would trust my training staff coordinator or the head of the training staff going forward, man. Like, we can't be hurt all the time the way we were. It's like an epidemic, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, anything that caught your attention on the press conference from Ryan Poles?
Not really, because I have to go back and watch it from the beginning. Because I came back on the back end what he was talking about.
Right.
I know somebody mentioned the safeties to him and how many, you know, as far as how many safeties they have on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only part that I heard is as far as Ryan Poles talking.
Yeah, man, because Ben Johnson was up there. I'm just trying to really think about what they was asking about Ben Johnson. I think somebody mentioned Caleb Williams. They didn't really get into specific. He just said Caleb Williams got better from a communication standpoint, being around his teammates, being around people in the organization. He didn't really get on the things that Caleb could get better at. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't say he needs to work on his short and down distance throws. He needs to work on this. He didn't pretty much say, if I missed it, I missed it. But I don't think Ben Johnson came out there and said anything to where what Caleb needs to work on. And what he did say, CJ left y'all, what Ben Johnson did say, he was saying that Caleb Williams needs to get away from football as far as possible, man. So when your coach says that your number one quarterback or your star quarterback needs to get away from football, that's a good thing, man. You know, that's a good thing, because as much as we want Caleb Williams to be better, and as much as he did improve, there is a work-life balance. You know what I'm saying? not just sports, but in life in general. A good work-life balance, it just provides longevity mentally, physically, and spiritually, emotionally. I know a lot of people are seeing Caleb Williams out there at the Hawks game and the Bulls game. You know what I mean? So to see Caleb Williams out there taking it easy, man, and dumping some of the stuff from this past season and getting out there, and he got his coach's blessing to say, "Hey, man, get away from football as long as possible," is a good thing, man, because too much of something is not a good thing. So I need my quarterback to be relaxed. I need my quarterback to come in the season, had fun, focused, ready to come back and play. Caleb Williams came on this season. He almost threw for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. I think like 7 interceptions. I think he threw 5 interceptions in 2 playoff games. And that's debatable if those were his fault and all that type of stuff, man. We can get into that later, maybe in the offseason. But Caleb Williams is our franchise quarterback, man. He really is. His ability to have the killer instinct, his ability to throw to any throw, fit any ball in any window, physically has the ability to run on the run, get first downs, use his legs to get first downs. He's becoming a pop culture icon in here. He got people, in Chicago buying matchas, and he got people wearing wired headphones. He got people painting their nails, man. He got an ice sculpture out here in Chicago. Caleb Williams is our quarterback of the future, and I cannot wait to watch him for the next probably 10 to 12 years, man. The kid got a bright future. I appreciate Ben Johnson coming up there and answering the questions that he did. It's going to be a tough season, man, and we will be giving you guys, off-season content about probably things like, 2026 prime cut candidates. Is Jaquan Brisker going to get cut? You know what I'm saying? Is CJ Gardner-Johnson going to cut? It's a lot of things that's going to make this Chicago Bear team a lot different going forward. Guys are going to be under contract. That's not under contract. They got to get new contracts. What else we got? We got guys coming off injury. Shamar Turner, Dio. This stuff never ends, man. So it's going to be a lot of things that the CNG podcast are going to be paying close attention to during the offseason, man. And we appreciate every single one of you that's been a part of this season. This has been a special season for us, as far as viewership, as far as me networking with people, people reposting, resharing, quoting, pulling up. You know what I mean? So we're still building this platform. It's a multi-content platform with multiple people, man. So we're steady building it, man. But we will be back when certain storylines come up. We might go on a post game. We might pull up, not a post game, but a podcast. Like I said, one thing that we don't do on this podcast is just be coming on, wasting time. They're coming on here wasting time, just talking about nothing for nothing. So if you see us pop up on the CNG podcast, see me, see Alan, see Shad, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you see the Bears Den podcast. Maybe you see Soulback Sports. Maybe you see the Windy City Project. You never know, man. I'm going to try to make sure when certain topics come up, certain storylines come up, if it's worth our time, worth your time, we will do a podcast. But this is going to be the time where I personally take a break, where CJ takes a break, all of us, man. If Ben Johnson can tell Caleb Williams to get away from football, guess what G Walker's going to do? I'm going to get away from football. I'll still be posting quick content, fun content on the Twitter page. So keep you guys laughing, keep you guys informed. But as far as us coming up here doing the podcast every week, is no longer the regular season, so we're not going to do no pregame shows, no postgame shows, of course. But let's say, for instance, Jaquan Brisker gets cut. Let's say, for instance, CJ Gardner gets cut. Let's say, for instance, something happens with a player on the season. Say somebody get extended. We will do content like that. So I'm G Walker, man. We got Don and Leah. What up, bro? Appreciate you popping up on YouTube, man. I appreciate you, man. There's no crying in CNG podcast, bro. I'm gonna screenshot that shit because it's definitely not, man. And so enjoy the off season, man. We will be here when things matter. We just won't be coming up here posting up just to be fucking coming on here. We're not gonna do that, man. We don't do that. We haven't been doing that. Shout out to my nephew Jay. He been rocking with me since I popped on Twitter, rocking with CJ. We love the podcast. Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I hope you guys really have fun with us, man, in the comments, in the chats, just having a ball, bro. The music, me producing, me bringing people on. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, man. Next season, hopefully, is bigger and better, more fun, more people, more music, more wins, and everything like that, man. So if you have not been following me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Follow me, man. I'm G Walker. I'm 1/4 for the CNG podcast. That's Alan and CJ and that shot. With that being said, I'm out of here, man. Bear down. God bless. Peace.